Well, hello, and welcome back to another edition of My Car Guru. Been reading the news here this morning, and this is really no surprise to me. Interest in EVs at lowest level since 2019, says the AAA. What does AAA stand for? Let me ask my AI here. What does AAA? AAA most commonly stands for the American Automobile Association, a not-for-profit federation of motor clubs in North America. It also stands for the American Academy of Actuaries, the abdominal aortic aneurysm in medicine, a high-budget, high-profile video game, and adult album alternative. It's a radio format. So AAA is not just a place where, you get directions and sign up for road rescue. They also survey their members, I guess. So apparently the percentage of customers who indicated that they would be unlikely or very unlikely to purchase an EV as their next vehicle rose to 63% from 51%, the highest since 2022. So, my philosophy on EVs is pretty simple. I've said it many times. You never buy one. You lease it. If you're going to get one, and I understand why you might want it, because they've got some really good deals out there right now since they've sales have kind of fallen off of a cliff as well. But I love the Mach-E. I'm a Ford dealer and a Nissan dealer, so we just sold a new Nissan Ariya EV out there, and last week we sold a Mach-E, which is Ford's Mustang-ish electric vehicle, kind of a small SUV. And we've had a little interest in Lightnings lately. That's the F-150 EV. But it's just so scarce. There's not that many people banging the doors down to get them. But I understand why somebody might want one, because it is really fun to drive. So what else is going on in the news? Oh, yeah, Ford says the automaker has a competitive edge against the tariffs. Now, Nissan says that too because they have tremendous amount of plant capacity that is basically being underutilized. I think Nissan said last month that they're only utilizing 56% of their plant capacity, so they can bring a lot of production to the United States, but that doesn't happen quickly. You can imagine what it would take to move a plant. But Ford says that over the next 12 to 24 months, they are really looking for ways to mitigate the costs from the tariffs. And see, what I wonder is that, maybe this conservative movement carries forth into the next election and J.D. Vance or, some other Republican gets elected again. The industry really can't plan that way because their business decisions take so long to pan out. And so, what are they going to do? If a Democrat gets elected, then a lot of this stuff's going to be rolled back, and they're going to do what they can to force all this green stuff down our throats again, just when the ice in Antarctica is not melting anymore. They're actually gaining ice down there. So who knows? I'm sure Al Gore is very disappointed. Okay, I thought this was interesting. A Japanese car company is going to be the official automotive sponsor of Team USA for athletes in the Olympic and Paralympic Games starting in the 2026 Winter Games in Italy. What do you think about that? I mean, they have a big presence in the United States, and it was probably offered to the domestics first. But Honda? Really? I mean, well, I guess that's better than if Mitsubishi was the sponsor, or even Volkswagen. I don't know, that might be even more weird. So don't be surprised. You'll see a Honda logo probably all over the jerseys of our athletes. And then finally, the National Auto Dealers Association convention. It's an annual affair. This year it is in Las Vegas. Last year it was in New Orleans. I think they bounce back and forth between those two. But this year they're saying every dealer needs to attend because we're going to learn everything there is to know about how AI is going to impact our business. I mean, I'm already using AI to some degree. I wrote a 60-second radio commercial the other day, and I just wanted to see what ChatGPT could do to it. So I copied it, pasted it, and I said, please improve this radio spot. Folks, I'm not kidding. When I clicked the button for it to go, it was less than 1 second. It had completely rewritten that spot. And I hate to say it, but it was better than mine. And then also, it asked another question. Would you like us to give you a 30-second version of this? And I said, yes, please. And clicked the button, and boom, there it was, 30-second version. Summarized a lot of the things and, just didn't make it as long. So now I have a 60-second spot that's AI generated, a 30-second spot that's AI generated, and I have to decide if I'm going to use them and if I need to put some kind of a disclaimer on there. Like at the end, say, this commercial was not really written by Lenny Lawson. It was written by ChatGPT. Of course, if I do that, I'll say it really fast, like everybody does on their radio commercials. Okay, I'll take my first break, and I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, so the title of this episode are the biggest negotiation boo-boos that car buyers make. So, in the rare instance that you are going in to buy a car, I realize it doesn't happen every day or week or month. Now, some people, and I've got some friends that do this, I would say 4 to 8 months, they're back. They're trading. They're buying another vehicle. They're trading in the one they bought 4 to 8 months ago. I mean, it is pretty phenomenal that somebody can do that. And we have to engineer every single transaction knowing that they're going to be doing that. So, we have to structure the deal carefully because we don't want to lose their business. But most people do it every 3 to 10 years, somewhere in that range. Where are you? I mean, do you want to buy a car and drive it until it wears out? That's what the experts say you're supposed to do. I even say it. I mean, the cheapest way for you to get by with an automobile or 2 automobiles in your family is to buy used cars and wear them out. If you have a lot of mechanical issues with one, then, go buy another one. But whenever you buy one, pay cash. Don't finance them, because you are financing and paying interest on a depreciating asset. Okay, I've said that, and I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. I'm a new car dealer. I survive by people buying. Well, that's not exactly true. I sell more used cars than I do new cars. That's true for just about every new car dealer, believe it or not. We'll sell probably 1.5 used cars for every one new car that we sell. So, those people, are they smarter than you? No. A lot of them just can't afford to buy a new car. They want to buy a new car, but they just are afraid to step up. Now, there's a bunch of them that say, I'll never buy a new car. There's no need. I'll just buy me a nice used car that's still under warranty, or maybe even one that's out of warranty and buy an extended warranty on it. Or I'll buy no extended warranty and I'll just take my chances and drive it for 10 or 15 years until it has 300,000 miles on it. My problem with that is I don't want to drive the same car for 10 or 15 years. That would not work for me. I mean, I get bored after a year and a half, maybe. That's how often I trade my F-150. But anyway, you're going to be going in to negotiate to buy something. You need to not make a boo-boo doing it. And one of the biggest boo-boos that people make is over-exuberance. They're just too excited. The salesperson feeds off of that. I mean, you don't want to be somber necessarily, but you also want to be somewhat businesslike and just not, get everybody that's with you, like if your wife and kids are with you shopping for the car, get them to keep it down. There needs to be a little pep talk, before you get out of your car. Now, folks, let's not get real excited if we see something we like. Just point at it and say, that's a nice color. Or, maybe we should get a sunroof in this one. Just try to tone it down a little bit. Okay, another thing that a lot of car buyers think they should do is hold back your trade-in. So, you drove in there a car, you're there to buy a new car, and the salesperson says, are you going to trade your car? And you totally intend on trading your car. But a lot of people say, no, I'm not trading my car, I'm going to sell it myself. And that's not a really good strategy. I used to think it was a good strategy for a car buyer, but it's really not. Because number one, they don't believe you. And because they've heard that so many times before. Now, some people do that, but most of them that do that have a much older car, and they get an offer and they think, well, shoot, I can take it to the junkyard and get that. Those are the ones that hold on to their trade-ins. And if they have a payoff on it, they have no choice. They have to trade it. Well, I guess they could, not trade it and try to sell it, and then they end up running the risk of getting less than what they could have gotten from the dealer. So go ahead and say, yes, we intend on trading our car, but there's one little caveat here I want to throw in. I want to know what the selling price is of the car that you're going to, that we're trying to buy, and separately from that, I want to know what you're going to pay me for my car. And that's how we're going to do this. And the beauty of that is now you have two different numbers to negotiate on, and they both matter. It's not like the monthly payment. That doesn't matter yet. I know it matters from a budgetary standpoint, but at this point in the negotiation, it does not matter. If they don't give you enough for your car or what you think it's worth based on your research, then you can negotiate that number. And based on your research, if you don't think they're discounting the vehicle enough, getting close enough to the factory invoice, then you can negotiate that number as well. You don't have to lump them together. And sometimes it wears on the salesperson when he has two numbers that he has to work on. Because trust me, the only number they want to work on is the monthly payment if you're a payment buyer. Okay, number 3. Be careful about planting your flag or drawing a line in the sand. Here's what the salesperson is going to say. If he gives you a quote, his first pencil, as they call it in the car business, he goes to his manager and comes back, and they've got some numbers written on the paper, and you look at that and you say, nope, not paying it. That's too much. Sometimes an inexperienced salesperson might say, what do you think is fair? Don't ever fall for that. You can't buy the car and sell it. You can only buy it. It's his job to sell it and to quote you numbers. You just tell him, well, you haven't hit my number yet, and that's definitely not it. He may say, well, what do you think is fair? It's not about fairness, young man. It's about the best price that you're willing to offer me right now. And until you get there, I'm not buying it. So you won't even make us an offer? No, I'm not going to make you an offer. I'm not in the offering business. You are. I know you don't have to be sarcastic, but it makes the program more interesting. Okay, so number 4, moving to the payment too soon. I beat this poor horse a lot. But, if everybody could, you remember that show, Lost in Space? And there was that weird-looking, chubby robot. And whenever Will Robinson would get into a pickle, that robot would say, danger, Will Robinson, danger. We all need that, because that's what needs to go off in your head whenever the salesperson says, what kind of payment you looking for? Or they do one of those Foursquare negotiation sheets of paper. They lay one of those on you. It's just a blank piece of paper, and they draw a line from the top to the bottom, and then from one side to the other, and they put the selling price, the trade, the down payment, and a couple different payments in there. If you see one of those sheets, folks, I'm just telling you, if you see a handwritten sheet like that, and they put that down in front of you, don't even let them start. Say, no, wait a minute. I'm not negotiating this way. I want to see an itemized sale contract that has the selling price, the taxes, the rebates, the trade, the license and tag, and then the net figure. That's what I want to see. I don't care about all that other stuff. So don't be, drawing pictures on pieces of paper. Just bring me a sale contract. They might call it a bill of sale or a deal sheet. That's what you want to see. Because that four-square negotiation technique, it's been around for years and years, and a lot of these shady dealers still use them. They just love those things because so many people fall for it. And, they've pegged you as a payment buyer, and so they're going to find your hot button. And normally, people's hot button is the down payment and the payment. It's because a lot of folks, most of them, don't have any money, and the only down payment they have is any equity that they have in their trade-in or the rebate that the manufacturer's given them. They haven't saved up any money. They're just going out and buying a car and just living the American dream. So if you don't have one of those robots from Lost in Space, you got me. And if you pay attention, folks, pass this on to the young folks. They've never bought a car before. They're going to go out and they're going to see this stuff, and they're not going to be prepared, and they're going to pay too much. Or you are, because you're not listening. Okay, number 5, spot deliveries. What is a spot delivery? I've mentioned this several times. It's when the dealership they've made an attempt. Let's say you've already negotiated, you've got the numbers, you're good, but you got marginal credit, and they can't get anybody to buy you yet. They've submitted it over their computer system. So what they do is they do something called a spot delivery. Now, you go ahead and sign the paperwork in many circumstances, but it's not your car yet. And so they're going to put you out in it, hoping that over the next 24 hours they can get some bank to buy your loan and finance that car for you. Now, also, what they're hopeful for is that you will fall in love with that car. You'll pull it into your driveway. Next door neighbors come over. Hey, you got a new car. And you forget totally that it's a spot delivery and that it's not yours yet. And so you start building it up in your mind. You think about where you're going to take your next vacation in it. And, by the time you get there the next morning, you're mentally locked into buying that car. And that's when they tell you, well, I got good news and bad news. What's the good news? Well, you're going to get to buy the car. What's the bad news? Well, you got to come up with another $5,000 down, and the payment's only going to go up $60 a month. So what do? I mean, if you had known that in advance, before you left the dealership that night, you wouldn't have taken the car home and impressed your neighbors. So don't fall for a spot delivery because it just weakens you. It weakens your leverage. I've even heard of dealerships telling people that, well, we already sold your trade-in. You have to take the car. No, you don't. You don't have to take anything. That's why you shouldn't do a spot. That's another reason you shouldn't do a spot delivery because, they've got your trade-in and they may lose it. I mean, some dealerships actually function that way. I know a few personally in this area. Okay, and the last thing, I just kind of thought of this, is that if you have little less than average credit up to good credit, there is no reason for you to let them take a credit application on you until you have agreed on the selling price of the car and what they're going to give you for your trade. No reason at all. Now, that is one of the first things that a dealership wants to do, or especially the crooked ones. They want to know who they're dealing with. They can spot you from a mile away once they have a credit report because they can see how many inquiries that you have had by other dealers. They can tell you've been shopping around. Don't lie to them and tell them that you haven't shopped anywhere else because they can see it right there on your credit report. And, there's so much that they can tell about you, and it makes them able to structure a deal based on their experience that they're pretty sure you're going to like it. And they're going to switch you to monthly payments as quickly as they can, and you won't have a clue what you're paying for the car. Okay, I'm going to take my last break. I'll be back in just 1 minute. I hate it when people say, they say this and they say that, but I'm getting ready to do what they say. They say that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. And I'm not equating ignorance and stupidity. They're two different things. Ignorance just means you don't know what you don't know. You can be a genius and still not know how to trade. and not know how to negotiate because you're just not good at it. You're not as good as they are. See, that's the disadvantage that car buyers have, and that's how I'm giving you these tools that you can use to negotiate anything, for that matter. I mean, my experiences in the car business and real estate business and buying and selling dealerships even. I mean, a lot of these things, I mean, they don't use a Foursquare on you when you're buying furniture or something like that, but you can negotiate just about anything. You just have to ask. Is that the best you can do? That one little phrase has saved me thousands and thousands of dollars in my lifetime. Whether I'm paying somebody to do my landscaping at my house or, buying a grill at Lowe's, is that the best you can do on that? I don't know. I'll have to ask my manager. That's typically what happens. But if you don't ask, you don't get. So control your exuberance. Don't hold back on your trade. Be careful about planting your flag and responding to, what do you want to pay? Stay away from payment negotiations. If they throw a Foursquare on you, throw it in the garbage. Never take them up on a spot delivery. And never forget to say, is that the best you can do? And for now, that's the best I can do. Thanks for listening to this edition. If you have any specific questions, text me 423-552-2020 or send me an email to LennyLawson2020@gmail.com, and I'll see you next time.